Hey, welcome back, my amazing student. So now that we have a connection to our database, it's time for us to start, thinking about what we want to do. So let's go back into our app real quick here. So we don't have, the main thing that we have in our apps are habits. We don't have a way to create any habits yet because we have everything on HTML, right? So now that we have a connection to our database and we have a database, now it's time for us to start thinking about the structure that we want our data to be in the database. For that, with SQLAlchemy, here what we can do is we can create the structure with using models. So that way we can refer to those queries as objects. That way it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to insert data, modify data, delete data one way or the other. So what I can do here is I can use this instance that we got with SQLAlchemy here, this DB, to create the structure. So let's go ahead and create a class here, and we can pass in this here, right here, okay? Well, we're gonna access this model, this object that we have inside, that's gonna give us the ability to have those methods attached to this, to the DB instance. Now we're gonna structure this here, and we're gonna say, well, the ID column in the database, all right, it needs to be an integer. So we're gonna access this method. Since we are passing this here, we have access to this. And we can say, well, I want this to be an integer, just like that. And you need to type it in just the way I am typing this in here, because I'm putting uppercase in here, and you need to do the same thing, all right? That way, these are things that are already, that exist inside that object. All right, so this needs to be the primary key, just like this. And we need to set it into true, all right? I'm gonna I'm gonna create one more. Let me copy this guy out so we don't have to write some of this stuff. And this is gonna be the name of our habit. And this would be a string. Let's make this to be unique, so there are no other habits that have the same name. And at the same time, let's make it nullable. All right, let's make that it can't be null. It cannot be empty, so false, just like that. All right, I'm gonna copy this a couple more times, and I'm gonna create the rest of this. And I'm gonna pause this down because I don't want you guys to wait for me to write all this, and then you can copy it. All right, there you go. So I was able to create this. So you can see now that we even have color. We have a string of 9 characters for this. The default color for this would be a little blue, all right? And then we got the gold type. This gold will have a string of 20 characters. The default is gonna be daily, all right? Later on, we can extend this to maybe weekly or monthly. Then we got the target per day is gonna be an integer. The default is gonna be 1. And then we got the created at, which is gonna be the date. And we got the default to be today's date. Simple as that. Now that we have the model here, we can start playing around with this data and creating and doing other things with it, deleting, whatever we want. So the next step is to start creating this route to start creating data. So now that we have this model here, what I wanna do is I wanna at least connect the habits page to a different route here that is gonna be able to create a habit. So we need to work on the function that is going to create the habit, but we need to first connect it with the form that we have in habits.html. And we're gonna do that by first, of course, making sure this form here has a method of post, and it has an action attribute with some type of value. I'm just gonna call it, for now, maybe we'll change it later, habits create. Simple as that, right? And this endpoint we have not built yet, so we need to build that endpoint. So let's go back into app here. I'm gonna do that right below habits, and let me use this decorator here, and I'm gonna call it create. And let's make sure that we pass in the methods, and we're gonna take post. Simple as that. And we're gonna call this function habits create, something like this. All right, I don't know if you can come up with a better name, but I think this name is appropriate for, this works, right? And we got to make sure that this function actually works. Let's actually give it a better name here. Create habit. I like that better. All right. Let's go back in here. Well, we already did this already. So let's come back. And yeah, that's not working. Let me just check this out. Let me do Control-C to kill my server and do Python app. Turn this on again. And there we go. All right, let's check this out. All right, that's not working. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change the port on my application because the port 5000, I always have issues with it in my computer, the Mac. So right here where it says app.run, let's just put something like 35, I don't know. Let's make this work. And let's make sure that this is actually working here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Control-C, clear, and then do Python app again. And hopefully it works. All right, so from here, I'm gonna do Command or Control and then left click, and now it's working, all right? So let's go to the habits area here, and I'm gonna click on this, and you can see that it says this works. Right? So now that we're hooked into this endpoint, we're gonna start writing the code that is going to create the data inside the database, all right, in the next lecture. So make sure you tune for that, guys. If you want to go ahead and try that yourself, if you already watched some of my other courses and think you can do it, go ahead and try it. If not, go ahead and jump into the next lecture. All right, guys? Be consistent, keep doing it. Even if your body doesn't want to do it, you need to make your body want to do it, all right? Just force yourself to do it. That way you can build a habit, just like we're going to be doing right here. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next lecture. Take care.